Ciao ragazzi, eccoci stasera con una nuova chiacchierata per far la conoscenza con un altro dei protagonisti della prossima Red Bull XAlps 2025. Attesissima 12ª edizione della più appassionante gara di Hike and Fly al mondo. Quest'anno FIVL con i suoi canali e con il sottoscritto è stata invitata formalmente e accreditata come media press nella competizione. Quindi saremo presenti nei giorni preparatori allo start, durante la gara e poi durante lo svolgimento saremo di nuovo live con i teams, i piloti, gli organizzatori che man mano avranno modo di collegarsi con noi. Ok, siamo pronti? Questa sera non indugiamo oltre, siamo pronti per parlare con...
Hi, my name is Sebrand Warren. I am a Dutch-American athlete. Every day I spend flying is like a dream come to life, and to compete in the Red Bull XAlps 2025 with role models and friends in the ultimate adventure race, it's more than a dream.
Bene ragazzi, ciao, ben arrivati di nuovo, siamo con Sebrand Warren questa sera, 32 anni, e lui competerà con il team Netherland, quindi il solo pilota, siccome non ha numero, è l'unico team dall'Olanda appunto, rookie, quindi la prima volta all'XAlp e andiamo a conoscerlo meglio. Hello Sebrand, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Okay, good. So, I saw from from the web page of the XAlp, you are competing as a Netherlands team, but you have also a good experience and grow up in paragliding in the US.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I grew up in paragliding, but yeah.
Yeah.
I started quite old, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I see
most of
that.
the rest.
Well, I was reading that you started very young, flying off from the garage roof with. We know this story, but apart from this joke, you started in 2019 to do paragliding seriously, correct?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, good. So, okay, tell us something about your way to the XAlp, how it came to you, and how you are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I learned from Dave Turner really in 2019, and actually he was in the XAlps, I think in like either 2009 or 2011. So I, from the very beginning of paragliding, I knew it was a thing. Obviously, he was the best paraglider I knew, and the idea that I could be there one day was not really realistic. But I think when I realized it was possible, Logan Walters started USA Hike and Fly, and started putting on hike and fly races, and that was kind of the only time people in America really got a chance to do hike and fly in a competition format. And I went to this race in the Owens. I'd been flying for 2 years, and there was 2 XAlps pilots competing, a few endurance athletes, and I looked at the weather forecast, I made a strategy, and in the end I came in first into goal. I was like, oh, okay, it's not about being the best paraglider or the best hiker. It's actually some sort of strange combination of intellect and your skills and patience.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely agree with you. It's not really, it's a mixture of things which makes the paraglider pilot. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was super satisfying. I already liked hike and fly. I already liked paragliding, but having this kind of community around racing is really fun. It's you don't get it from hike and fly alone or not outside of competition. I'd never done competition before that, and it was really satisfying.
Sure. And also, I've seen that you have been competing also to the Dolomiti Superfly and the X-Peer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Dolomiti Superfly is just incredibly beautiful. I'd never flown the Dolomites before, and this course line that they did last year was it was mind-blowing.
Yeah, I believe so too. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, Sebrand, can you tell us something more about the motivation, a little bit deeply, the motivation that push you to participate in such a challenging race?
Yeah, I mean, like the initial reason I ever did a competition in paragliding is the same as it is now, and that is it's the cheapest way to learn. You're racing with other athletes that are competitive and racing at their hardest, and normally with people who are experienced, and you get to see what they would do on the same day. So you see really clearly where you went right, where you went wrong. So for me, that's why I started competing. I didn't really think, oh, I'm going to go win or be on a podium or something. It was like, oh, it's a great way to learn. And I think it's still the same. Like going to the XAlps, I get to see, I mean, hopefully if I'm not 2 days behind Kriegel, I get to see what he does on the same day, and I can understand, oh, okay, that's how he's thinking about this. That's what works. So for me, it's super educational. That's probably the primary motivator. Of course, there's also this aspect. It's in the paragliding world. It's the one way you can really be an athlete. There's not money in other, like even for the XPeer, it's very hard to get sponsors or anything like that. So if you want to build partnerships with brands, the XAlps is the place to do it. This is the realistic truth. So it's been very fun to explore that world because I'm 32 years old. There's no sport I could start doing tomorrow where I could be at the top in my lifetime, except for paragliding. So it's a cool opportunity to be able to be reaching out to brands as an elite athlete. It's special to do that.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, very good point, that one. So we say that the XAlpen is a race for a single pilot, but also it's a team race. It's so important to have a good team. Can you tell us something more about your team?
Yeah. My team is probably going to be 6 people in addition to myself. We'll have 5 with us in 2 cars. And the team is a big mix. Some people that I've known for years and some people that reached out after they found out I was in the XAlps and were really excited to just be there at all.
Mhm.
My primary supporter, Rustam, is a ex-professional rock climber from Russia. He now lives in the Netherlands and is a Dutch citizen. But we met climbing years and years ago and have become much closer through hike and fly racing. He's supported me at the Dolomiti Superfly. But yeah, he's also one of my mentors. He's super wise. He's a role model for me in how he's developed his life around family while also still chasing the outdoors and sports. And then my friend Zach, he's the photographer and also the pack mule. He's somehow, he's several years younger than me and can train half as much and still run circles around me running up the hill. So he's crucial. He can carry his full camera gear and my water,
Wow.
which is super important the deeper you get into the race.
Yeah.
Then we have one guy, Arnav, who's really focused on doing all the things that, you would basically ask an intern to do, like all the cooking and the driving and all these other hard to do tasks that slip through the cracks if you're focused on strategy. And then we have Zach's business partner is Clem. He's going to help with social media as well. And then he's switching out with our friend Hugo Lemmy, who's actually in the acro world, like up and coming acro star. It takes a big team. And the crucial thing is that we like each other a lot. Yeah. And at the end of this, I hope that we're all best friends,
Sure. Yeah, it's gonna be
One more person
two.
who does that.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 intensive weeks. So it's like being on a boat. You are really very close together, and
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And they need to like each other more than they like me.
sure, absolutely. So, Sebrand, which kind of preparation of training are you following to be ready for the race?
Yeah. So I one of my big role models is Patrick Von Kennel, and so in a similar vein to him, I have a coach who's doing my physical training, Ben Abruzzo. He was also the trainer for Logan and Gavin. Really great. And I tell him every time he gives me like a week that looks not fun, I'm going to go do something else. Because for me, the crucial thing to be able to do the sport at this level is that I'm passionate and enjoying it. And if I'm spending so much time running on the flats or hiking down the mountain or doing things that don't feel right for the weather or for the adventure that I'm really in the mood for, then I'm going to burn out. And in fact, I just left the mountains to go to the Netherlands because I was burnt out on the mountains. So for me, I really have to follow the thing that I want to do. Otherwise, I can't train hard. So that's crucial for me, is making each training day an adventure that I want to do, even if it doesn't perfectly match up with the routine.
Right, I understand.
Yeah,
right.
that's the
So,
physical aspect. We could talk about the other aspects as well.
yeah. So, Sebrand, what do you think about the route in this edition? We see that there are 3 times a ferrata, more than 1,200 kilometers, 4 times the Alps to be crossed up and down, up and down. So, what do you think about it?
I think it's honestly great. To me, paragliding competition, if everybody finishes, then it was a bad task. I always have had this view, and for me, it's if I do the XAlps once and we only go for 6 days because the task was too short, that's a disappointment. So if I finish on day 12 and I've only done 3/4 of the route, that's a great adventure. You know,
I understand
so
your point.
I
Yeah,
love that it's long and hard. I think it's perfect. If we don't finish, that's awesome.
sure. Yeah, because probably last edition they saw the speed of some pilots, so probably they decided to, let's say, put up the level a little bit more because yeah,
I think it's great.
absolutely. So back to the race. What will it be your strategy? Are you more one that goes up in front, or are you going to be a little bit on the back and then try to go for the long run?
Yeah, if there's an opportunity to get really far ahead, if I have some magic move, cool. But for the most part, I find for hike and fly racing, it's not about making the first move. It's not about being fast. It's about being patient. If sometimes you have to wait for an hour for the day to turn on at the top of the mountain versus do a sleder, just gliding down to the valley, it's better to wait.
Yeah.
So, and if there's an opportunity to hike up a mountain for maybe a 2-hour flying window on a rainy day, it's worth waiting and taking the risk to fly. My goal is to fly a lot. I'm going to push hard when it makes sense on the ground, but yeah, taking it slow and taking the time to think about the strategy rather than trying to jump to the next thing before fully understanding where I am.
Right. Yes. And this for sure the team will be also very important to give you all the good information to get the good choices.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So, Sebrand, also a question that I ask to every pilot. Um, I'm a pilot too. So many of us, we talk about, let's say, a magic moment. So sometimes that happened during the flight or a period of the day or whatever. What is your magic moment in paragliding?
Oh, you can't tell me one. it's too hard to just pick one. I feel like for every day I fly, I hope to have one magic moment, and I almost always do. You
Yeah.
know, like just this past week, I was doing a training day, and the weather was total shit. It was like 50-kilometer-an-hour meteo wind at 1,500 meters. But I decided, okay, I hike to the top of this mountain, and if it's calm enough, I'll take off, and if it's not, I'll hike down. And I get there, it's sun setting, and I'm at the top, and it's not the 40K wind I was expecting. It's just 25. It's perfect. So I soar this mountain that no one really soars in this kind of wind for 30 minutes, and then fly over the back and fly home. And it's like, this is amazing when you can do this kind of
Yeah.
adventure out of your back door with no car. You just went for a hike on a bad day where nobody else is flying. It's just so cool.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree with you. Yes. So, Sebrand, which kind of advice would you give to some young pilots that are looking us now and are maybe dreaming one day to be able to be part of the XAlp too?
Okay, I actually thought about this question a lot. It's such a challenging thing. I think this sport, there's not one way to get to become an XAlps pilot. You have, and it's also like, I think it's great to have it as a goal, but it can't be the only reason you fly, right? If you're just chasing being an XAlps pilot, you're either going to really bum yourself out, burn yourself out, or hurt yourself, because you know the things that you're supposed to train are dangerous. So I think it's important that you keep yourself passionate. Getting injured is going to hurt your passion. Working too hard is going to hurt your passion. Like, you have to keep it, you have to do it your way. And yeah, talk to your mentors, talk to the pilots that really excite you. But yeah, I know for like me, like talking to Patrick Von Kennel, he's someone who really gets me excited about flying. I really like his attitude. But maybe there are some pilots that if I try and take their advice, it makes me super bummed out on flying. So I end up not flying for a few days, or every time I fly, it's less fun. So you have to keep it fun.
Sure. Yeah,
At
this
least for me.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So, Sebrand, last question, but also important to know a little bit of you a little bit better. What are you doing when you are not flying?
So I like to write songs and play guitar, and I like to draw. So I'm a bit of an artist behind the scenes. And I like to cuddle with my 2 cats. And I do some bike packing as well with my girlfriend.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I saw also on the web that you did more than 7,000 kilometers from Ulaanbaatar to Bangkok by bicycle.
Yeah, we crossed China. My brother and I crossed China. It was an incredible trip.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really fantastic. Back in 2015, right?
Yeah, way before I had paraglided already, like once or twice, just kiting. So I knew what it was, but yeah, way before I even imagined doing something like the XAlps.
Right. Yes. Just only 10 years after that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Absolutely. Okay, so Sebrand, thanks very much for this time you spent with us. And we're going to see you at the start in Kitzbühel. So I will be there too. So wishing
Awesome.
you all the best. And thanks again for being with us.
Thank you so much, Rinaldo.
Bye.
Bye. See you soon.